Okay. So, good evening. My name is Mike Brill. I'm the chair for the Regional Family Support Council for Monmouth and Ocean counties. We typically are a resource for parents to bring information to the Division of Developmental Disabilities and the Children's System of Care. Tonight, we're fortunate to have Peg Kinsell, who is the policy director at SPAN. And for those of you who aren't familiar with SPAN, SPAN is a statewide parent advocacy network. And SPAN is also responsible for the special education parent advisory groups in New Jersey. So without wasting a lot of time, Peg, it's all yours.
Thanks, Mike. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. As Mike said, my name is Peg Kinsell. In addition to being the policy director at SPAN, I also direct a military family support project at Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst that supports military connected families of children and youth with disabilities or special health care needs. And I'll tell you a little secret. Mike Brill used to work for me till over on the installation, work with military families. Then he moved on to bigger and better, but appreciate the help then and always appreciate the relationship. So I am really just going to get started. What I was asked to do was to kind of a SPAN 101, who we are, different projects, what we do, and then to focus on our START project, which is the work around the SEPAGs, the special ed parent advisory groups, as Mike also stated. So I am going to just get started. We're gonna kind of zip through the beginning of it, and I left plenty of time so that we can talk about what we've discussed, about SPAN itself, about the STAR project, or whatever else you want to talk about. I am yours till the end of the evening. So let's just go ahead and get started. And why am I my slides are not moving. Here we go. I love technology. There we go. Okay. So SPAN's special focus is on people with the greatest needs. So our foremost commitment is to those children, youth, young adults with the greatest need across all of poverty, disability, special health care need, race, sex, language. We work in child welfare and juvenile justice. We also work around geographic location and any other special circumstance. We are a diverse organization that represents the families we serve. So we try to have authentic voices in all the work we do. Our policy work and our departmental work is all equity focused. And we certainly hope to ensure mutual respect and authentic appreciation for those diverse backgrounds. Here is kind of our big checkoff points of services that we provide. So access to services, increasing knowledge, connecting with other families, which obviously between training and resources and trying to provide additional knowledge in our different areas that we work in, we also think it's really important to connect other families because and I'm probably preaching to the choir, everybody that's watching, we know a lot of times we get our deepest support and best understanding from other families that have been where we are and taken that journey. So we try to make sure we support those connections and make the availability for families to meet each other. Which got a little difficult over the COVID time, but we're more and more getting back in person and with those warm handoff and connections. We have a lot of work around understanding child development, communication, and certainly participating in decision-making. We are firmly committed to parent leadership and families being the authentic voices, also having a seat at the table, and not just as a seat filler, as equal participants with their voice being heard. Is that right? Okay, I'm sorry. So part of this is our Looking for Help brochure. That's a kind of way to start the information sharing. If you'll see our website at the bottom of the page, if you haven't kind of perused it, take a look. Check out some of the things we're doing and some of the things we have coming down the pike. And also let us know if something's missing, if something's confusing, and because we're always working to update and improve our website. This is our Looking for Help brochure. It's available both electronically and in tree killing format. So we try to instead of having 85 different brochures, at least start out with this initial one that kind of gives it, full overview of who and what SPAN is, and then we take some deeper dives after that. Our resource delivery is committed to these 8, and depending on, we do a lot of our work is grant dependent. So depending on the criteria of the project is how we address the participants and who we service. But we certainly are involved with any individual of childbearing age and those who are pregnant, certainly families with children birth to 26, and that's with and without disabilities or special health care needs, again, depending on what the project is. Families that are providing kinship care for their children, family leaders in their schools and communities. That's one of the places that START also falls under. Definitely improving our game on the youth and young people and adult allies, trying to make sure that, again, those authentic voices are participating and have a seat at the table. And then professionals that are interested in the healthy development of children. So besides what we do with and for families and students and youth, we also do professional development and work with coalitions and professionals that are certainly supporting our families. Here's just kind of where our program areas are divided. We've gotten a lot bigger than when we first started out 35 years ago around a kitchen table. So here are our program areas, as you can see, from early childhood to family engagement, health, mental health, leadership development, policy and systems advocacy, and then the individual assistance. And we'll dig a little deeper there. So I have to move you. Are these, yeah, there we go. So, all right. So our early childhood projects, we have a training and technical assistance project for child care providers and the child care resource and referral agencies. We do a lot of work with professional development and helping families who have children with disabilities to make sure they're included and that they're supported, and that, both the child care center and provider understands their responsibilities under whether it's ADA or 504 or IDA, and also then helping families to navigate and facilitate those supports. We do training and outreach, again, to a lot of families and professionals. We certainly work with the Department of Children and Family, both the Office of Early Childhood and supporting families that are in early intervention. We have staff that's on some federal programs. That's what that CDC Learn the Signs of Act Early resources are. So all of these things you can access information, more information and resources from that website. That's going to run along all the slides anyway. And you know what, Walt, I'm going to stop here for a second because I did forget to say that all the slides and all the resources will get sent to you. So don't worry about if trying to take notes or that kind of stuff. You could just kind of sit back and have your tea and cake or whatever, and we will make sure that you get the PowerPoints and the corresponding resources. So we also support the New Jersey chapter of American Academy of Pediatrics and do a lot of work with them around ACEs, the trauma-informed ACEs. And also we have a seedling grant for trying to transform pediatrics. It's like some of the work that you guys have seen and are doing, making sure that pediatricians and physicians know about resources, about supports, about avenues to support the families that they're treating and the children with any kind of disability or special health care need. For health and mental health, we do, and I will tell you, almost every slide, no matter what the project's going to say, information, training, and support, because we have a model that does all three of those running throughout all of our work. So for children with children and youth with special health care needs, we have a special project. We have a family health information center. We are a chapter of National Family Voices in New Jersey. And then we also are a chapter of the Federation for Children's Mental Health. So all of those, national resources also help support our work here in New Jersey. We do peer-to-peer support and connection to resources, intensive individual systems that a lot of times happens through, we work with special child health services in New Jersey in those units to support families that need more targeted assistance. We have a project that's specific to Ocean and Monmouth counties around access to health and social services. We had a project working in schools to talk about and train, again, families and communities about coordinating school health with what's happening in your family. Recruit, train, and support parents of children with hearing loss is one of our newer projects. We work closely with the Eddie work and trying again to support and do that with the authentic voices of students with hearing loss or family members with hearing loss. And I think we've all learned a lot from that project. We also work closely with the New Jersey Deaf Blind Project as well, supporting their work. And then we do some systems work. We've worked a lot on New Jersey paid family leave. And although it's technically a labor law, it was important to us. We've been working on that for, I guess, close to 15 years now, and helped New Jersey pass one of the first paid family leave laws in the whole country. I think we are number 3. But it was especially critical to families that we deal with, families of kids with disabilities, families of kids with special health care needs, that had to take some time off to support the needs of their children. But under, the National Family Leave Act, you get the time off, you get a job guarantee, but you don't get paid. So this was a way to help families, support family members, and also expand that kind of definition of a family member, and also what was a qualifying condition to access paid family leave. So I'm real proud of that work. We certainly did ACA enrollment. We worked on a healthcare bill around again, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but around accessibility of doctors and making sure that there's a network of providers, especially for families that are on Medicaid or on New Jersey Family Care, to actually access the specialist they need with within a reasonable distance and adequacy of the network. And then we also have we're working on, like everyone else I think is trying to work on, the Medicaid unwinding and making sure that families know where to go or how to get support if they get one of those letters. So, oh, look, there's my military family support project. So here we have kind of a breakdown of our individual assistance. So the first thing I wanted to discuss was our warm line. We have a 1-800 number that folks can call to get support. We provide different kinds of assistance. So, and how the feds and a lot of the work we do now defines that is in 3 different areas: universal support, targeted support, or intensive support. So for universal support, it's really just about information, dissemination, resources, fact sheets, those kind of things. Targeted is more the individual phone assistance. So when you get connected with a family resource specialist to actually ask your questions, look for advice, talk about whatever the issue might be that you called in about. And then we have a program that is called SEVA, Special Ed Volunteer Advocates. And those are families that will actually, those are specially trained volunteers for SPAN that will actually accompany you to a meeting and in other kind of supports. So that's a lot more intensive support. There's certain qualifiers for that. And even though they will attend an IEP meeting if necessary, let me tell you right from the start that that project needs, you can't call the day before and say you need somebody to help you at an IEP meeting. They need at least like 2 to 3 weeks notice in order to do a decent job and be a decent support. The military connected families have a different, they have a level of support that involves all 3 of those, again, universal, targeted, intensive. And the military project does accompany and advocate on behalf of military connected families with schools and other providers to help their assistance with accessing their services that they need, both inside and outside the gate. The juvenile justice system and the child welfare system, we have 2 different projects we're doing. Some founded that are funded by the Bar Foundation, provides again that technical assistance if someone falls in the warm line and has an issue in juvenile justice or child welfare. They'll be connected to a particular family resource specialist that's a subject matter expert in that area. We also conduct IEP clinics with these guys as well, so they can be scheduled either in small groups or in different, sometimes in partnership with other organizations. The INC, Integrated Care for Kids, is about building care teams around children's health, and that's a lot of times with kids that have complicated needs. And then we have an autism medical home project, which is, again, that information support and advocacy. Is for families specific to autism spectrum disorder, and that's housed at Hackensack University Medical Center. This is some of my favorite stuff. We are committed to leadership development. We know that we can't do it alone, and we also know that the most powerful leaders are families or parents or students themselves that have or are involved in the system. The lead project is serves family and individuals of childbearing age. You see the whole, and that is in partnership with other organizations as well. Our SPAN Parent Leadership and Advocacy Development, that is our SRP and SAVA training. So our SPAN Resource Parent Training is to train volunteers for SPAN. They get intensive 6 to 8 week course of 5.5 hours. I think it is now a day for each training. And then so really digging deep into IEP, healthcare, your basic rights, what ADA 504 and IDEA say about procedural safeguards. So it's really a whole lot, whole level higher of leadership training. And then for that training, there's two ways to take the training. One, you can sign up and pay for it and write a check. But the other way, and what we really prefer, is parents that make the commitment to attend the training, come to all the sessions, and then act in a volunteer capacity for SPAN for certain amount of hours. And that can be in a lot of, it can be in supporting parents, it could be going to resource fairs for us, sitting at tables, doing work around conferences. So there's a whole host of ways that parents can volunteer and provide their volunteer hours if they do the SRP. The SAVA project that I just recently spoke about, after you do this SRP training, if you're interested in that higher level of advocacy, or more intense, I shouldn't say higher, more intense level of advocacy, there's an additional couple trainings that you have to take, and the SAVA volunteers get a stipend for that support because it's a lot more. It's meeting individually with the families, helping them craft a plan around whatever advocacy they're trying to complete. And so it's a little bit a lot more intense, actually. And then START, we're going to talk about. START is our Engaging Parents of Students with Disabilities, and that is a project that trains and prepares parent leaders. But we're going to go into that in more detail, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. So some of the other projects, we are fortunate enough that we've grown to be quite a have a national footprint now as well. So SPAN originally 35 years ago was the first parent training information center for New Jersey. PTIs are federally designated under IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. And every state has at least one. Some of the bigger states, Texas, California, New York, have multiple PTIs, but SPAN has been, we've actually had the honor of being the designated PTI for New Jersey for 30 plus years. So something we're really proud of. And in the quest to expand some of our work, we have these projects. These projects are all either regional or national. So I'm going to start in the middle. The NEPAC is Navigating Excellence Parent Center. We have acronyms for everything. So the NEPAC Center is actually our Regional Technical Assistance Center, which just means that from Maine to Washington, D.C., that whole Northeast region, along with the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, we provide technical assistance to all the parent centers in that Northeast region. The National Center, the SIPR on the very top, the Parent Center Hub, which take the time to check some of these websites out. It's a ton of great information. That is the National TA Center. So that is responsible for providing resources, technical assistance, et cetera, to every parent center, all 96 parent centers across the country. we have one of the Raise Center, that is a grant from RSA and is about technical assistance and support for kids that are transitioning to adult, and working closely with RSA, VR, and other states. And we have a project there that works through our Northeast region as well. The Family Engagement Leadership is new, and that's kind of our brand new grant. It's a big grant. It's inclusive of kids both with disabilities and without. And it's about, again, family engagement, making sure families are part of the conversation with schools and how to build those relationships. Because we know statistically, if families are involved and part of the school community, that their kids do better. We have a healthcare transition project as well. And then real transition partners. And those are focused with youth advocates as well. So we had one of our projects this past year, a panel of youth from all over that Northeast region again, presented to OSEP leadership, to a panel of hundreds of professionals down in Washington, D.C., and just brought the house down. So again, work that we're really proud of. Here is some of the work around parent professional development. And again, I mean, a lot of this, if you're familiar with us, you already know about. We do presentations in multiple venues and as many accessible formats as we can. We do in-person and virtual. Presentation and materials are available in multiple languages. And then we also, as I said earlier, have customized professional development for school districts or community-based organizations. We've had, bigger companies ask us to come in and talk about, educational rights for kids with disabilities, or, some of the time to care stuff or whatever. But all of those are available now. Presentations and trainings for families are free. But some of certainly the professional development for professional organizations or schools, there's a fee-based service that you can find out from talking to our training program director, Nicole Pratt. This is part of my work at SPAN. We do policy and system advocacy both in Trenton and in Washington, D.C. And we really try as hard as we can to stay current so that families know what's kind of happening and know, when sometimes you don't have a whole lot of time to respond to stuff. But we're really committed, again, to turning families into their own policy directors. We have a group of families that support the policy efforts and have gone through training and are more comfortable with it. We also talk to families all the time and say, not everybody's comfortable going into a hearing and testifying to a Senate committee, for example. But those people are also sometimes more comfortable picking up the phone and calling their to assembly people and state senator to say, wait a minute, this is a problem. And then we have other families where they're not comfortable in public speaking, but they're fantastic writers. So whether they're writing letters for families to use as kind of a model, or whether they're writing letters to the editor or reaching out in other ways, blog posts, etc. So there's always a way to help affect change, and it doesn't always have to be sitting in front of or testifying in front of a committee at the State House or down in Washington, D.C. We do think it's important, though, that they learn how to build those relationships, make those relationships, even find out from their local school board level to their community government, whether it's town council or city council or mayor or whatever, and then who their representatives are, how to reach out to them, and make sure that their voices are heard when we are a member of the Disability Legislative Caucus that is chaired by or created by the New Jersey Council on Developmental Disabilities, along with 25 other disability focused groups. And that has made a big difference, because what the initial charge of that was just so that legislators, when they were writing a bill or thinking of an idea, stop to say, how's that going to impact families with disabilities? And that's all we really wanted to do, is stop and make that take that time to make that consideration, so that we weren't down at the State House trying to undo something that they were thinking about us before, or in the process of creation of legislation. So, and we talk in the training and conversations that I have with families, we also work really hard on teaching them how to engage, how to tell their story, and also how to be a part of a coalition. Some of the best work that SPAN has done is in a coalition, sometimes with traditional partners that you expect us to be partners with, and other times with very non-traditional partners, which can actually have a big impact on trying to get your point across when you're partnering with people that you're not always necessarily a constituent of, or a partner in other work. So most of our focus of work, again, is same thing: policy, health care, education, civil rights, and family service delivery. So I think you could tell that's the one I like. But I really think it's important, and I often tell families, because which I didn't say in the beginning, I have 3 children, but they're not children. I have 3 adult, um, uh, 2 sons and a daughter. And we are out of any kind of system at, they're grown up. So we are not certainly working on the education system or the juvenile system, or any of the other service providers that we went through. But what I learned so long ago when I took on the extra policy work at SPAN was, I did all the training. I got as educated as I could. I was a really good advocate. But what I was doing to help improve things for my own kids didn't transfer to anybody else. So I could walk around all day to patting myself on the back saying, "Oh, aren't you wonderful?" But it wasn't producing any systems change. So that's where the commitment is for both myself and the organization, is to provide systems change and support to the families that we support. Okay, enough soapbox for you guys. And here's some of our youth engagement work. I talked about it a little bit. We're actually working on one project with disability rights, the DD Council and the Bog Center. It's a national project around making sure that folks know that there's other options than guardianship for youth with disabilities, and talking about a supported decision-making model. And again, it's about education resources and getting the word out, so families understand that they have options or different things to explore, and it's not always always down the same road, and always that kind of same journey. We have I talked about a minute or two ago, but around a healthcare transition, what we found, not us only, but is that there's a huge transition for young people when they're leaving their pediatrician, especially, that has treated them with all the specialties they've needed for their whole life, but now they're adult. So they're no longer in that pediatric mode and have to transition to adult healthcare from their own decision making to providers that are both accessible and support and informed about folks with disabilities. So that is one of the work. I told you about the Raise Center of before that. That's the RSA Center. The CYVYC is the project I just discussed about alternatives to guardianship. And then we are working also on a project about options for inclusive post-secondary education. We have a youth chat, a youth blog, and we are working and really expanding our footprint on youth leadership development. We also were part of a new grant that's with the New Jersey Department of Education that they got from the feds around transition for students with disabilities as well. So that still remains to be seen, but it's exciting that the work is going to be, Parent Center, Department of Ed, and DVR, and actually that we might be able to move that ball a little bit up the hill. So family engagement. None of this happens without family engagement. And what I can tell you as the policy director for the last 150 years, however long I've been, that family engagement is what moves. I can go to the State House every day for 6 weeks and, testify and talk to legislators and talk to folks in the department. But when families that are their constituents, families that are engaged in some of that work are those voices, they pay a whole lot more attention. So it's important, certainly from a policy standpoint, but we also know that educationally, kids do better if their families are engaged and part of that school community. And all the other ways that that families being a real part of the school community can assist in the development of their own students and other students in the community is critically important. So what we're going to talk about the SEPAGs and all the work that we do under START, and then I will come back here for a minute. Okay, so here's our START project. Engaging parents of students with disabilities in school. So here is, I put this slide in here, so just if for nothing else, you have the contact information for the START project. Again, you're going to go back and you're going to look at the SPAN website and look at a whole host of different resources and projects, but I did want to, since Mike and Kyoko had asked me to do some more give some more information on STAR project. I wanted to put that out there. So, SEPAGs, everybody does or doesn't know what a SEPAG is. Mike explained the acronym earlier, Special Ed Parent Advisory Group. And here's kind of a couple bulleted lists of what are the purposes. One, I mean, I just talked about that it helps both outcomes and well-being for students, including those with disabilities. It's a way to identify unmet needs because part of the SEPAG's responsibility is to report to the Board of Education and let them know what the state of special education is, good, bad, or indifferent. Sometimes it's to kudos for some work they're doing. Other times it's to address a need that they may not be aware of. The SEPAGs help shape the development of programs, services, and policies. And it's, we focus our work on improving the district culture and climate. So the climate is safe and welcoming for students. but also safe and welcoming for families as well. CPAGs are a requirement in New Jersey. So we're a couple states where they actually require a parent, a special ed parent group. In New Jersey, it's in the code 6A:14 -1.2 little h if you want the exact site, but it simply says that each Board of Education shall ensure that a special education parent advisory group is in place in the district to provide input to the district on issues concerning students with disabilities. That's exactly what the language of the law is, but that's all there is to the law. So what we found over the years is some of the issues with the makeup of the group, the commitment of the school district. They say we have one parent that's running the CPAG, and then you find out that the parent's actually a staff member that happens to have a kid with a disability. So some school districts have done outstanding work, robust recruitment of families, providing training, resources, access, and not just taking it over. Some other school districts have not done that, and have kind of led with a heavy foot and, from the top down. So, oops, sorry. I thought I turned me on vibrate. Apologize for that, guys. Um, with that being said, then, that's not exactly what our hopes were when we talked about CPAGs. We do have, actually it's on a further slide, so let me wait for that. But, so unfortunately, until we always hope that we wouldn't have to change the code to actually specify, you need to have at least 3 parents. And, there's kind of best practice, parents from different age groups, different demographics, everybody represented, welcome environment, share, that kind of thing. None of that's in the law. I read you exactly what the law says, but there's still a lot of school districts that haven't even bothered to implement a CPAG. Some of them are pretend CPAGs, I'm going to admit. Other school districts have gone over and above to have robust parent engagement. And then some school districts still just kind of pretend it's not part of the law. So, and a lot of times until they get called out or families know in their school district to say, this is supposed to be happening. Can I help, help you work on that? And then if it's like, no, we don't do that here, then, you have to file a complaint or talk to the New Jersey Department of Education. Serving on groups is a national model training, but it's also something that's provided for families and other folks from that reach out to SPAN and want to be involved in this. And this is really to make sure, because if you've ever been a parent on a board or task force or whatever, where you know that you're just there because they had to have a parent representative or they had to have a representative from Middlesex County or they had to have a whatever. But you don't know where you belong. You don't know how valuable your input is. You don't know even how to negotiate or facilitate becoming a true member of whatever group. So these are trainings that try to help provide those tools, because it's not something that you all of a sudden naturally know how to do. And especially when you're in just like those old IEP meetings that still give you goosebumps, when you walked into an office and everybody had a suit and tie on, or and there you sat. And right away the, power balance fluctuates. So what the serving on groups tries to do is build the confidence, build the skills, so that you're able to walk into one of these situations and become, an empowered, engaged parent leader in whatever the subject might be. So some of the things, some of the other things that START does is, and I know you can't read any of the stuff on this other half of the slide, but don't worry. There'll be a link to everything that's just kind of an example of the START project and links kind of at a glance thing. So what START does is provide technical assistance and training across the state, statewide project, 21 counties, 650 plus school districts. So that's all public school districts, both traditional and charter. They have a website, which is right here. They also have a newsletter that if you go to the website, there's just a little tab that you click on and you can sign up for their e-newsletter. They do a bunch of workshops and trainings, and they do really exciting countywide peer-to-peer meetings and roundtables. So they'll have all the parents from Monmouth County, the parent groups from Monmouth County, and do roundtables. We've done them regionally, north, central, south, and then they have, really, depending on the subject area of whatever the peer-to-peer is about, they often invite me to talk about whatever a policy initiative might be that they're working on. Tonight, they're actually having an early literacy program roundtable that has, Department of Ed folks on it. So it's really cool because you're learning and you're advocating and you're supporting, kind of a parent's parent aspect, and it helps encourage and support, especially the parent group leaders that might be having some difficulties with getting their stuff off the ground, outreach and recruitment, dialoguing with their school district, all kinds of different ways. There's a regional Facebook special ed parent leader groups too, so that they broke them up regionally so that, activities and resources and stuff that were happening in their area would all be meaningful to those same parents. So cool stuff. This is me trying to blow it up, and then I realized that that was like a mistake. So that's that same document that you still can't read. But once again, I'll make sure that the link is there. But if you go to the START website, you shouldn't have any difficulty finding it. It is, again, well, it tells you right at the title. That part you can read: Start Engaging Parents of Students with Disabilities. Project at a glance. Great resources. Not only are the resources, PowerPoints and those kind of things available, but they also record most of the roundtables and training sessions. So you can watch a lot and see if it's something you're interested in, and some, really interesting things. One of the projects that START works on is around inclusion, and inclusion of students with disabilities across the board, and really just with the kids together definition, being a part of what everyone else, being welcomed and embraced as a member who belongs, and that inclusion can occur school, church, playground, works, and in recreation. So they do a lot of inclusion work. Again, you can see on their at a glance page, or go to their website and get more information about that project. They also have do a lot of work around the multi-tiered systems of support. So the MTSS in New Jersey, that's their model, New Jersey's model of a multi-tiered system of support, or response to intervention. So it's basically a framework for preventing academic and behavioral difficulties and providing some kind of intervention, support, enrichment based on what that individual student's needs are. It is there as a support. There's, you know, if anybody's been through PBS, you see the triangle, the tertiary triangle there, that, you know, at the top of the triangle are the kids that need the most intensive supports, and down to the bottom of the triangle, which are school-wide efforts of support and strategies. This is a database decision making. So if your child or if you're involved in um, NJTSS, you should be not only engaged in the planning and the conversations with the folks supporting, but making sure that decisions are database and that you have access to that data and support. So it's kind of a simple version, but again, it's something that the START project does a lot of work in, and an alternative to some of the past efforts. Here is the Special Ed Parent Advisory Group guide. So the SEPAG guide is was a partnership between SPAN and the New Jersey Department of Education. And it is a best practice guide in developing and you know, conducting parent or effective parent groups, it says, but um we always uh we always hope for effective, but it's about how do you start, what are some best practices, what are some ways when you have some difficulties, really you know, kind of straightforward, helpful activities, thoughts of different ways to put to deal with. And it doesn't have to be it's a great for the CPAGs, but it's also, I found that there's information in there that can get used across other work you might be doing or other groups you might be involved in. So the guide itself, again, commitment to input from both parents and school leaders. The roadmap is there to both, because you know that's always the difficulty, not even like where do we start, but after we start, how do we keep things running and how do we not, you know, lose all the momentum we're working on. The guide's available in English and in Spanish. It's downloadable, you know, it can be printed. There's also a link on this PowerPoint, which you'll have as well, that to a CPAG webinar to hear more about the work that the CPAGs are doing and how to get involved. And then that page again that I apologize for that you couldn't read also has a list of all those kind of quick reference guides around different issues, what STARS does, what they can do for you, and how to become a parent leader within that cadre of parent leaders across the state. Okay. These are just some of our numbers. So we're gonna spend a whole lot of time. If you're really interested, I'm certainly happy to talk to you about it. But we had, I think, 2 more now, but 22 funded projects across the 9 program areas. Um, you see the numbers of content, the individual assistance contacts, our training numbers, and the 1.2 million visits is to the Parent Center Hub. That's a national technical assistance center. So um, we um, we have to report those annual reports. So that's just to give you kind of a bigger picture of some of the work we're doing. And there's the SPAN team. So I'm happy to take any questions, comments, feedback, anything else I can talk to you about, or anything else you would like me to share with you. And I can't read or see anything, so if there's chats or hands, you're gonna have to help me out, Kyoko.
Hi, Peg. Thank you very much. So attendees, if you have any questions or comments, please typing in Q&A. And Monique just said, great job, Ms. Kinsell.
Thank you so much. I, in truth and full disclosure, Monique works for me as a project director on our juvenile justice and child welfare project. So very proud of those projects and the team I have working with me on them. But thank you for the kind comments, Monique. No questions. Everybody's good. I can't answer a question. Oh, and Monique's also a member of Regional Family Support Council 6. So, all right, Mike, I'm not sure. I'm certainly, I will make sure that Kyoko sends out all of the SPAN information, the resources, the links, etc. I will also, actually, I'll drop my email in the chat so that you can reach out to me individually if you had a question or something you wanted to discuss that you didn't want to discuss over the group. I don't know, Mike, Walt, is there anything else that I can assist you guys with today, or?
Just thank you very much for your time, Peg.
Oh, absolutely.
Peg, as always, we really appreciate you taking time out of your, I know you have nothing else to do all day, but
We're actually at DD Council all day, so.
yeah, I know, I heard.
I've been on a roll, but no, I appreciate very much the invitations, and to get out. I'll be glad when we can get out and actually shake hands, and, see folks, but, I always appreciate the opportunity, to talk to people and make those connections. And, once again, I put my email in the chat, so, or I put it somewhere, and, feel free to reach out. And Walt and Mike and Kyoko all know how to track me down. So if I can be of any other help or assistance, please let me know.
Will do. Much appreciated.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Go ahead.
I was just, did you want me to close out? Do you want me to just jump off and you have other business or stuff to take care of for the council?
Yeah, you can jump off, and I'm just going to give, our commercial for what we do and how we do it.
All right. Thank you all again. And I will see you soon if I can close myself out of here. So just, there we go. Thanks again.
Okay, thanks, Peg.
All right. It doesn't want me to
All right.
leave.
Okay. I'd just like to spend a couple of minutes to explain what the Regional Family Support Planning Councils do. It's our responsibility to interact with both the Division of Developmental Disabilities and the Children's System of Care to attempt to get them to modify, change, supplement, whatever it may be, issues around people with disabilities and their families. We are mandated by law in the state of New Jersey from a law that parents actually got together and created in 1998. So we are intimately familiar. Most of us have had experiences with both the school systems, with the administrative systems, and we're always looking for additional members, additional people to participate. If you would like to participate with the Regional Family Councils, we meet the second Thursday of every month. We do it via a Zoom webinar chat. If you need to reach out for anything, my email is mbrill@att.net, and I feel free to contact me for something that you think might not apply here, but might apply to something else you're doing. The issues that we have are issues when we stand alone. When we stand together, we're a very powerful force. And we try to remind legislators of that every election year and in between election years, that we are not a limited group of people. There are approximately 3,300 people with disabilities in Monmouth and Ocean County. And if you multiply that by their families, that's a very large voting block. And legislators are aware of that. And when we stand together, we have the opportunity to affect legislation. We have the opportunity to affect change. We've always had difficulty with the school systems, not all of them, but we would like to try and be more involved in the school system in trying to help parents help themselves. The expression that you can't do something by yourself. If you do something alone, you stand alone. You do something with a group, you stand tall. So if anybody has any questions for us, please feel free to add those. Okay, well, I thank everyone for their time. I appreciate everybody taking time out of their busy day to listen and participate. And hopefully you'll reach out to one of us or to Peg if you're having issues. And if you're not having issues, but still want to be part of a group that can affect change, please feel free to contact me. If there's nothing else, then I'm going to say good night and thank you very much for your time.